the no kids era. You should not be having kids unless you have at least $500,000 or $1 million and up. Kids is for rich people. This whole having 5 kids and everybody on food stamps is not, that era's over. We got to stop doing that. I mean, it's leaving all the kids for failure. Is that what, I mean, I know you're a failure and you want to contribute, but that era's got to be over. We have to stop doing that. It costs over $500,000 to raise a kid to 18 to 21 years old. So you've got to be rich if you're going to have the kids. The kids' era's over. Please stop.
What's up, everyone? This is Miss Rosewood, and I'm bringing you Miss Rosewood Speaks, where we discuss beauty, wisdom, and knowledge. Before I get into this video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. What's up, everyone? It's your girl, Miss Rosewood, and I am here with a reaction video. I am here with a reaction video, and I am all smiles and all joy. This video here I found on TikTok. The creator is ryn.offline. ryn.offline. This video is from TikTok, and it has several thousands of shares, comments, and likes. When I say this video was music to my ears, it was past music. It was just hummingbirds in my ear. That's what it was. I came across this video on TikTok, and it brought me back to my personal thoughts and my personal reflections. As you can see, it says having kids era is over. Having kids is a thing of the past, y'all. Is it? Question mark. Is it? I think it's starting to be. Like he said, having kids are for rich people. You must be a millionaire to have a child. And I agree with it wholeheartedly, 100, 1,000, 1,000,000%. First, I want to elaborate on how I feel having kids era is over, or it's just not the time right now to have kids. As we all know, the economy, yes, that's one. 2, the male and female dynamic right now is just terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Male and females do not see eye to eye right now. And as we all know, and as I've been preaching on this channel, us ladies, we just rather be alone. We have our family and our social life, but dating at the moment is not a priority for a lot. I know it's not for me. I remember from about age 27, I'm going to say 27, yeah. I'm going to give myself to age 27 to literally when I just hit, like 3 months before I hit my 30th birthday. I was in a one relationship in my mid-20s from like 26. No, my early 20s, I was in one relationship, was single for a while. Then around 27, I got in the next relationship. This relationship, you couldn't tell me and this person wasn't going to get married, buy a house, or if not buy a house, move into a bigger apartment. You name it. I thought we was going to live that dream, that American dream. We had similar jobs. We had similar salaries. This person actually even had more of a salary than me, and as well more of a stomping ground than me as well. So I'm thinking we were going to be the next best thing. And when I realized the bad habits, the not willing to be patient, the uncompromising feelings that they had and about life and people in general, I woke up one day, I think it was, like I said, it was like 3 months or 4 months before my 30th birthday. And I woke up one day and I said, girl, get that vision out your head. Get that vision out your head. Give it to God. I literally got on my knees and prayed. And I said, God, all that prayers and fantasies I had about getting married and having kids, Lord, I give it to you. Lord, I give this to you. If it's meant for me to have a child and a husband, it will be on your terms. And I never prayed about it again. I looked up and I said, girl, you forcing a situation that is not going to happen. Then eventually, of course, him and I broke up. And I, of course, let it off for him because we weren't seeing eye to eye. And I thought of it as I hit into my my 30th, traveling, doing this. Literally, once my 30th hit, it's like I couldn't sit down. I was on everybody's airplane, you name it, racking up flyer miles. Then 31, I'm like, okay, 30 was cool. I'm hanging out, partying, but you're 31 now. So now you're officially into your 30s. I'm doing little things, not really dating, tried to date again, didn't really care to date. But then after a while, I said, you know what? I ain't caring about dating. I need to just focus on me, focus on my life, focus on things. Been working. Of course, I work, but I said, let me focus a little more on work, focus a little more on my making more of a salary, live my life, take care of my family. God willing, I'm blessed. My family and my parents are still alive. My mother, my father, my grandmother, they're still alive. I spend time with them when I feel like I want some love or be around love. I spend time with my family if I ever have that feeling like I want to be around. I actually got a dog. Well, she's a puppy, but she's a big dog now. I actually got a dog. I took in a dog from a young woman who was in the process of going into the shelter. I took in her dog. I have my baby Brandy since. I love her to the fullest. I love her so much. And I feel like once I got that vision out of my head of having that dream of having your child and having your man by age 30, you want that dream of I'm going to be married with my baby and my son, his son, we're going to name him after him by 30. I woke up that morning, literally started planning my birthday. I said, girl, you worry about the wrong stuff. You need to start planning your birthday. Your birthday is in 4 months. And what did I do? I planned the biggest birthday I ever did for myself, which was beautiful. And it just sits back, and I'm like, maybe I'm crazy for thinking like this. Maybe I'm crazy for saying this out, saying this. I never said it out loud though. But I said, you know what? I ain't stressing having kids. I just give it to God. And I go on TikTok and I see this video of a man loud and clear, having kids is over. That era is done. That era is also done. I also feel too, teach the young ones early. I was walking, I live in New York City and I'm walking a lot. I walk a lot. And I remember one time I was out. I can't even remember where I was out. I think I was in Manhattan. And I saw a woman. She had a small child with her, maybe about 2 years old, 3 years old. I'll say the boy was 3 because he was walking and talking on his own. And I believe she was pregnant as well. And the woman, the woman just seemed so flustered. But I would give the woman to be late 30s, early 40s. The woman seemed so flustered with her child. And you could tell she had resources. I could just tell from her, like her appearance, she was a woman with resources. And it just even taught me. And I said, you could tell this lady had money to blow and burn. I forgot what store I was in. I know I was in a store because the way she was just picking up stuff and shopping for the baby was just crying or grabbing stuff. And she's like, here, here, here. I knew she had resources because if you a mama, most mamas be struggling and they ain't letting their babies pick up every little thing they see. But I said, even with her having a kid, she seems a little mature. She seems like she have the resources. She is stressed and burnt out. That lady was letting that boy just pick up every and anything because she just couldn't take it. And I believe I was in Target. If I wasn't in Target, I'm not going to say I was in Target. I know I was maybe Marshalls. I might have been in Marshalls, but whatever. I know I was in a retail store. And she let that boy just pick up everything and threw it in the car and like it was nothing. And I was in line. I seen the register, so she bought it. And I say, even having the resources to raise the kid financially and technically spoil the kid, it's just that, like he said, you need the resources, you need the education, you need the patience, and you need the village. Now, granted, I'm pretty sure she was a woman of stature that probably could afford a nanny, and maybe it was just a day the nanny wasn't present or working, but she seemed flustered. Having kids these days seems like you need so much patience. And I grew up in a family. I was sitting back one day thinking too, all of my cousins, we are all directly a year or 2 years apart. Out of from 1989 to 1999, it's about a good 12 of us. And we're all literally 1 year to 2 years apart. And I sat back and thought about it too. And I said, I feel like maybe that's why we grew up more happier growing up. We always rotated houses. We went to this house, this parent house, this person house. All of us, literally all of us, as we grew up. And I say maybe that's why we were more happier growing up as kids, because we had so many of us. We always just had each other. You know, love is the answer, and I get what they mean when they say love is the answer, love is the message. We all just had each other growing up. But growing up these days, now one of my cousins has one child and another cousin has two children, and it's just them three. And they barely see each other because they have such big age gaps. One is a teen, and two are still in elementary school. And other than that, that's about it. And I realized this day and age, like he said, having kids, that era of wanting to have kids and wanting to be a big family, and having school support and sub government support with substantial benefits like SNAP, WIC, it's hard. It is so hard to get those benefits and get those things that you need to raise and support more than two children. Nowadays, having two children is like, damn, you got two kids. I know a lot of people that had their one and done. I know so many people had their one and done. Then you got some that got their little two, and that's it. And they like, I think I'm done. That's it. I got my two. I was being greedy. Having two kids now was being greedy. I also go back to the message of teaching the young girls to slow down before having kids. Like I stated, I witnessed a wealthy woman one day in the store with her child and with child, overwhelmed and flustered, and she had the financial resources to buy whatever the baby wanted. But you also have to teach. If you don't see mature women with financial stature with children, you notice nowadays when you see pregnant women, they either obviously honestly look 35 and older, and they actually, most of them are married and have someone. Or notice you only see young women under 21 pregnant, like just freshly 18, just maybe 21. And I feel like once you see those nieces that have their babies before the age of 21, they was in the matrix, and you didn't teach them to fall out of it too soon. And I said it was one day, it was about three young women I personally knew, they wanted her pregnant. And I said, how old three of them get pregnant out of nowhere? But they were young. They under 21. And I'm like, they fell for the matrix. We got to teach these young women, do not fall into the matrix. You got to let them know, get your ass up, go to work, go to school, do something. Do not have no baby. This is not the era to have no babies. I am, like I said, I am in my 30s and I have no child, no children, and no husband. And I watch so many women with the kids out with me. I say it's no kid friendly stuff anymore. The mothers are looking to hang out with the grown woman with no kids, or the aunties. The mamas is with the aunties, okay? I'm the auntie. Y'all with me all every weekend. Why you with me? There's nothing kid friendly these days. There's no Disney. There's no Nickelodeon. It's barely the Disney store. Growing up, we used to go to the Disney store. I don't know if some of y'all remember this, especially if you were a New Yorker. Warner Brothers. Remember the Warner Brothers? And they had the Tweety Bird and the Looney Tunes. I used to love Tweety Bird. They used to call me Tweety Bird growing up because of my cheeks. I love Tweety Bird. I had Tweety Bird everything. I used to go to the Warner Brothers store. They don't even have stuff like that. Nowadays, you go to a kid birthday party. A kid birthday party costs more than a 50-year-old birthday party. They got a place. I can't even think about having no kid. Imagine a birthday party. How afford their birthday party? Kids' birthday parties are expensive in this era. Yeah, having kids is different these days. I feel like now when you have a kid, people like, what? See, people used to try to pressure you. I feel like from before 2020, right before the pandemic, people used to try to pressure you, like, oh, you ain't got no kid, what's wrong? Especially when I was in my late 20s, I was just like 28, 29. People like, oh, you don't got no babies? Oh, don't got no babies? Look, now after the pandemic, everybody wished they didn't have a damn baby. Now that the pandemic is over, people like, I ain't having no more kids. I don't want to put my kids through none of that ever again. Now that the pandemic is over and things ain't how it used to be, people kind of scratching and surviving, people don't even think about having kids. People don't even want to be having intercourse like that. I know I don't. I don't want to have no damn intercourse. But yeah, having kids, that era is over, man. You got to be a millionaire. Like he said, not even half a millionaire. You got to be a millionaire. Even if you making 60K, 80K, and your man making 100K, I don't even think that's still enough. Because now, if you try to get a 2-bedroom in an apartment, especially living in New York, oh please, car insurance, you got to upgrade your car and get a small SUV. Your insurance gonna be through the roof. They're gonna charge you. It's hard. It's not like back in the days you get your little minivan, a nice little 3-bedroom home, town home. Hey, those days are done. My advice, I'm not telling people do not have kids. Me personally, I put my hopes and wishes in the hands of the Lord. So I can't sit here and say I'm not having kids, because that's something I asked God to handle for me. But my advice, if you don't have no kids, don't rush. Do not sign no contract with no men. Do not sign any spiritual deeds with these men. Hold your horses. Hold your horses. If you don't like partying and hanging out, go plant a garden. Go gardening. Go on run clubs, walk clubs, join knitting groups, book clubs. I'm in everything. I do book clubs. I go to piers and beaches. You name it. I got so many different friend groups. And I got this dog. This dog be sick of me because she always don't want to go places, and I be bringing her places. But yeah, y'all, having kids is over. How you feel about it? Let me know down in the comments. Once again, thank you, everyone. This is Miss Rosewood Speaks. And until the next video, peace out.